How will Lamar Jackson's 2019 season be remembered, especially after that divisional game?
I think one thing people are overlooking is Lamar Jackson still in that divisional game threw for 365 yards and rushed for over 100 yards, which is difficult to do. Even if your team's losing, yeah, you could say, oh, his team's losing, so he had to throw. But to throw for that many yards and also run for that many yards, lead your team in rushing, lead your team in passing, and do that pretty much. He did that all season. It wasn't like this was a one-time thing and he just happened to, this was his coming out game. All season made grown men and grown NFL players look
Premier
like high school
world-class athletes.
Yes, the best football players in the world. Made them look like trash week in and week out, breaking ankles, making them look confused on what was going
Snatching
on.
souls.
And then not only did he rush on people, he threw the ball. He broke the Ravens record for single season passing touchdowns. I mean, like that. You don't do that if you're a bad quarterback.
No, I would agree with you on that statement.
I definitely think that this is probably one of the most dominant seasons by a quarterback that we've seen in a while.
Especially a sophomore.
I think it's exactly, and it's only his second season. And then, like, the way he handled after losing the game, he just said, whatever, we're coming back next year, and we're going to do it again. And the fact that he wasn't, like, a lot of people, like, we all remember Cam Newton after he lost the Super Bowl. He was a mess.
Cam Newton handled that in the worst way possible.
I do support Cam Newton in a lot of stuff he does, but I do, in my opinion, think Cam Newton handled that loss very poorly. Yeah, I think there's a lot better ways he could have handled that. And I think that the fact that Lamar Jackson is so young, and only in his second season as a quarterback, comes in and then tells everybody what he wants to do, and pretty much goes out there and does it. There were so many questions of when he was first coming out of college. Can he run on NFL teams like he ran on college teams? His accuracy, his throwing ability. Can he lead a team? And I feel like he answered all those questions very quickly for us. I think this season will be remembered as one of the most dominant seasons by a quarterback in a long time.
Agree with you. The thing was, he wasn't just dominant; he was consistently dominant, and that was the most impressive thing to me. He was putting in numbers and putting on solid performances week in and week out. Russell Wilson started off the season off, but he kind of tapered out. Lamar Jackson. He kept a flat. He damn near was a plateau the whole season, but that plateau was miles and miles into the sky. It was impressive as hell. I don't think that this playoff performance is going to. It shouldn't take away from his season as a whole. It will to some people because there's a lot of naysayers still about Lamar Jackson. I will fully admit I wasn't sold on him at the end of last season, especially his performance against the Chargers in the playoffs. In those last 7 games, wasn't sold. But I have totally changed my opinion on him. I will admit that I was dead wrong about Lamar Jackson last season. He has blown the league and me out of the water. I'm thoroughly impressed. I love watching him play. I love watching that Ravens team. And Lamar Jackson has one of the brightest futures in the NFL. And it's remarkable. Definitely. And no one should look at this playoff game and have that tarnish what he did in the 2019 regular season. What he did was historical, and there's no way one game can remove all that. And
one still really good game.
Yes, he didn't. 2 interceptions were bad. It was a below average, but it wasn't. It's not like he shit the bed. Not like he shit the bed.
And one of the interceptions that he did throw was absolutely not his fault. No. It hit his receiver directly in the hands and bounced into the air. And when a ball bounces straight into the air, the bad things happen.
Can't do anything as a quarterback about that.
There's nothing you can do.
Me and you agree. Lamar Jackson's 2019 regular season will be remembered as an absolutely remarkable and MVP caliber season, and the playoff game should not have any effect on that.
Not at all.
Next question. Who had the better performance in a loss over the weekend? Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, or Russell Wilson? I'm going to take this one first, Jalen, if you don't mind. And I'm not just going to say based on the stats. I'm going to say, for me, it wasn't Lamar Jackson. It was between Deshaun Watson or Russell Wilson. And I think fully, if we're not just looking at stats, we're looking at game management. I'm going to go with Russell Wilson, who did not have a better stat line than Deshaun Watson. But Russell Wilson kept that Seahawks team fighting after a piss-poor first half. They almost came back to win that game. They were really, really close to doing that. And he was just making plays that don't show up on the stat line. He was getting receivers open, making the expanding the length of the plays, trying to get people open, getting out of the pocket, and making moves. And I think Russell Wilson was the only reason that game was even close. Deshaun Watson had a great game, especially in that first half, but he kind of tapered off in the second and wasn't able to do much. It's like the Chiefs figured them out, and they were done. Russell Wilson, completely the opposite. That's why I think he had the best performance for the losing quarterbacks this weekend.
For me, I think I'm still going to go with Lamar. Because in my honest opinion, I don't think Lamar is the reason they lost. I think the rest of their team kind of faded.
I won't put on any of these three quarterbacks. I'm not going to put the loss on any one of them. I'll put the loss on Kirk Cousins, but I'm not going to put a loss on Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, or Russell Wilson. Won't do it.
Yeah.
But Lamar Jackson, best performance, just from the rushing attack, the passing still, and the one turnover that was his fault at least, or at least a couple. Yeah, the fumble as well. That was a killer.
Yeah, he had a fumble as well.
But you think he still had the best performance?
I think he did. I don't think it was his fault that they weren't able to score. He rushed really well. He threw really well. I feel like the interceptions. I didn't see the second one, but I saw the first one good. That was dropped one.
Second one was by the way.
Yeah, I don't see this game being Lamar's fault at all. And so after that, if it's not the loss in your fault, then you start going to look back at stats. And I think the fact that his running backs weren't able to run the ball well, his receivers weren't catching the ball well, and of course you're going to get to like almost 60 passes at that point.
Yeah.
But I feel like his running kept him in the game because, to be honest, if there was pretty much almost any other quarterback in the league right now in that position, we would have given up on the game. Yes. But there wasn't 2 minutes to where we were like, okay, this game's over. Because the entire time you're like, okay, Lamar's going to do something now. And then his team would fail him, and then it'd be like, okay, Lamar's going to do something now. And there's not a lot of quarterbacks in the league right now, even some of the top quarterbacks in the league right now, in that same situation, that we would still that long have faith that something crazy is going on.
That's a really good point you make, and I agree with you on that one. I don't agree with you enough to say he had a better performance than Russell Wilson, but you make a very solid point on that one, Jalen. Third question. Moving away from the NFL, going to college football real quick. Of course, we had LSU putting up a pretty good performance against that Clemson team. Joe Burrow breaking records, the most passing touchdowns in a single season with 59. Absolutely remarkable. My question to you is, Jalen, is Joe Burrow's college career better than Tim Tebow's? I think this is a big time question. I think we could have like a damn 20-minute debate on this one.
Yeah, I think they're both two different types of quarterback. In my opinion, it's like trying to say, did Joe Burrow have a better career than Lamar? I feel like you could have the conversation if did Tim Tebow have a better career than Lamar? They're kind of similar. They both ran, but they also threw really well. But it's like,
all right, let's see who. Okay, let's word it this way then. Who would you rather is a college coach? Who would you rather have on your team? Would you rather have Tim Tebow or Joe Burrow?
I feel like I'd rather have Tim because he was more of that leader. Like he can get you to want to run through a brick wall.
Exactly. I think,
I feel like
this is one question. Is a leader. It's with even it's Tim Tebow, but Joe Burrow. Great leadership. I love the absolute amount of confidence and swagger that Joe Burrow takes with him everywhere. I loved you saw after he threw that 5th touchdown to put the game away, how he was pointing at his ring finger when he was coming off the field. Fucking love him.
Yeah.
He was apparently smoking a cigar in the lounge after the game. He said on camera in his post-game interview that they LSU already got fitted for rings before the game. And then walking out the field and at the club later that night, he was walking around with a hat that said, I think it's like Big Dick Joe or Big Dick Burrow. The amount of confidence and swagger that man has is unreal, but he backs it up, which is why I think he's so good for it. Obviously, he has a great arm.
It's like...
Yeah, you were saying?
Yeah. It's like, I'm saying I would prefer Tim Tebow. But it's like it's more of just the leader Tim Tebow was. It's like irreplaceable.
Oh, he's one of a kind.
I'm not saying Joe Burrow. Yeah, I'm not saying I would like. I take either of them in their college career. I take either of them.
We're not saying Joe Burrow is.
I'm not even saying Joe Burrow is not a better quarterback than Tim Tebow. But in my opinion, there's certain. Yeah, I feel like it's like. If I go into like halftime and my team's down 28 points and my team's sad and hanging their heads, I think I want Tim Tebow in my locker room. There's different situations where I would prefer to have Joe Burrow. Like if they got into a shootout, just back and forth, I want Burrow. But there's just certain situations, and I think that leadership aspect to where I think I'd prefer to have Tim Tebow, especially that since it's college football. Yeah. If we're talking more NFL level, I think I take Burrow based off of the skill. But
we saw how Tebow's career went. He was a playoff winner.
For Tebow, it's more in college football. It's a whole bunch of young athletes that are ready to go. If you can get them pumped up.
Tim Tebow is all about the intangibles of an athlete, whereas Burrow has more tangibles.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I just think in college football, I'd rather have those intangibles because I feel like you can get a group. Because especially that Florida team, by any means, it was nowhere near one of the best teams. But the way Tebow and that coaching staff pumped those guys up made them really dominant.
Tim Tebow and I feel like insane.
Yeah.
Urban Meyer. But you make a really good point on that one. I still think... I'm not going to get super into it because we could debate about this for a while, and before I actually go super into it, I'd rather have a full kind of more research done before this. But I still think Tim Tebow I still think he's the most dominant quarterback to ever play in the NCAA. Up there with Vince Young, Joe Burrow now, and that. It's definitely would be a hot debate, but I still say that he was really absolutely dominant. Carried the team everywhere when he won the Heisman there with Florida, and he wasn't as good as a passer as Joe Burrow, but he was able to put balls in good windows. He was able to get a lot of zip on it. He had great passing ability in college, but that. That ability to be that mobile quarterback and to be that big time the big mobile quarterback was something that Joe Burrow that's just not him, and that part Tebow I think might put him over the edge.